If you want to understand why someone suddenly becomes drawn to your silence, why they start searching for you even when you barely speak, why your presence begins to haunt them long after you walk away, you have to understand something most people never learn. In a loud world, the quiet one becomes unforgettable. People don't become obsessed with noise. They become obsessed with mystery, and mystery lives inside the person who doesn't give everything away at once. In relationships, whether you're a man or a woman, there is a moment when silence becomes more powerful than attraction, more powerful than desire, even more powerful than the words, "I love you." And as strange as it sounds, the modern world, especially in the United States, has never been more hungry for this kind of power. People are pulled toward whatever makes them feel something real, something raw, something they can't easily explain. That's why Stoic philosophy is suddenly trending. It speaks to a kind of strength most people lost somewhere between their anxiety and their constant scrolling. It teaches us what real power looks like, and real power in relationships is never loud. It's steady, it's controlled, it's the kind of energy someone feels even when you're not touching them, not texting them, not chasing them. It's the tension that builds in the spaces between your words, in the pauses between your actions, in the way your eyes hold a truth your mouth doesn't rush to say. Maybe you've noticed it too. When you stop explaining yourself, they lean in. When you stop trying so hard, they become curious. When you stop filling every second of silence, they start wondering what thoughts you're holding back. And the moment someone starts wondering about you, truly wondering, they're already half pulled into your gravity. Stoics understood this long before social media, long before dating apps, long before the chaos that makes people feel replaceable. They knew that restraint is its own kind of seduction, that self-control is its own kind of intimacy, that the person who does not need validation becomes the person everyone wants validation from. You can see it today, men and women both searching for the partner who feels grounded, someone who isn't controlled by their emotions every second of the day, someone who has the kind of presence that calms the room instead of adding to the noise. That presence is rare, and rare things create desire. Rare things create tension, rare things create obsession, and when that rare energy appears inside a relationship, it changes everything. But true Stoic presence does not come from pretending to be cold. It comes from knowing yourself so well that you don't fear losing anyone. And nothing pulls people in like the person who cannot be shaken. You've seen how relationships usually go. Someone feels something deeply, they panic, they overthink, they chase, they cling, they argue with themselves before they argue with the other person. But when you rise above that panic, when you move with calm intention instead of emotional chaos, they feel it. They notice every little difference. When someone expects you to react but you stay centered, it creates a pressure they didn't see coming. It creates that slow, tightening suspense, like something powerful is building beneath the surface, like there's a hidden depth to you they haven't even touched yet. That suspense is magnetic. That suspense makes them feel alive. In America especially, where relationships often move fast, where emotions flare quickly, where people confuse intensity with connection, someone who stays grounded becomes unforgettable. You stand out without trying, you attract without chasing, you pull them closer without saying a word. And whether the connection is emotional, romantic, or drifting towards something more sexual, silence becomes the space where desire grows. Not the awkward silence, not the forced silence, but the intentional silence, the kind that says, "I'm here, but I don't need to prove myself." The silence that lets them feel your presence without demanding their reassurance. The silence that makes them watch you a little longer, wait for your next move, try to read your mind even when your face stays calm. There's something deeply attractive about a person who won't beg for attention. Someone who can look at you with steady eyes and not flinch. Someone who listens instead of rushing to speak. Someone who keeps their emotions interior, not locked away but controlled. You become a kind of emotional cliffhanger. Something inside you feels like an unopened chapter, a story they want to understand but can't predict. Stoicism was never about shutting down emotion. It was about mastering emotion so deeply that the world around you loses its power to disturb your peace. And when someone feels that from you, when they feel that inner stability, they become drawn to it in ways they don't even understand. They become curious about what shaped you. They want to get closer, physically and emotionally, to the source of that quiet power. And then there's the part no one wants to talk about, but everyone feels. That slow, subtle sexual tension that forms when someone tries to read your silence. It's not explicit, it's not loud. It's the kind of tension that builds naturally when someone feels safe with you yet intrigued by you. When your calm makes them feel seen, but your mystery makes them want more. When your presence pulls something deep from inside them, something they don't show to just anyone. When your voice stays low, your reactions stay grounded, and your attention, when you finally give it, feels like a gift instead of a habit. That is the kind of energy people remember. That is the energy people crave. Most relationships struggle because both people are trying so hard to be heard that they forget to listen. They forget to breathe. They forget that connection is felt between words, not inside the noise. The Stoics knew the human mind becomes overwhelmed when everything is loud and chaotic. They understood that strength lies in restraint, clarity lies in stillness, and attraction grows in simplicity. When you simplify your presence, it magnifies your impact. When you speak less, your words weigh more. When you love with intention instead of desperation, your love becomes a place of safety instead of stress. And safety is one of the strongest forms of seduction. The quiet reassurance that you won't break, won't lash out, won't collapse under pressure. It pulls someone closer than any loud display of emotion ever could. And the moment you realize this, the moment you embody this, everything about your relationships begins to shift. The people who once overlooked you begin to notice you. The people who once doubted you begin to respect you. And the people who once treated you casually suddenly begin treating you like a rare experience. Not because you changed for them, but because you returned to yourself, to your center, to the strength you were always meant to hold. When you become grounded in yourself, people feel it in your energy, in your tone, even in your silence. They start to feel like being near you stabilizes them. And once someone associates you with emotional stability, it becomes incredibly difficult for them to let go. Some will even try to test your calm, just to see if they can shake you. They'll poke at old wounds, push emotional buttons, or try to create drama to see if your silence breaks. But the Stoic doesn't break. The Stoic observes, the Stoic waits. The Stoic decides when something deserves a reaction, and most things don't. This restraint creates a suspense that's almost cinematic, like waiting to see if a character will finally reveal what they're thinking. It keeps them locked in, invested, emotionally hooked. A calm presence in a chaotic world becomes addictive. And addiction doesn't start with noise. It starts with a feeling that someone else awakens inside you. When you awaken that feeling in someone without trying, without forcing it, without losing yourself, they feel it as desire, curiosity, attraction, maybe even something deeper, something physical, something intimate that grows stronger the more they realize they can't fully understand you. Stoicism doesn't kill emotion, it deepens it. It gives your emotions shape instead of letting them spill everywhere. It allows you to connect slowly, intentionally, building trust instead of chaos. And modern relationships need that. People today don't want more noise. They want someone who sees them clearly. Someone who doesn't panic when connection forms. Someone who doesn't disappear at the first sign of difficulty. Someone who communicates calmly, listens deeply, touches intentionally, and speaks honestly. Someone who doesn't rush intimacy but doesn't fear it either. Someone who understands that sexual chemistry means nothing if emotional stability isn't present first. Someone who can stand in front of them with calm eyes and a grounded presence that makes their heart race without a single word. And maybe that's why they start thinking about you late at night, why your voice echoes in their mind, why the memory of your calm makes them feel something warm in their chest or low in their stomach, why they replay the moments when your silence said more than your words. The modern world has conditioned people to expect constant validation, constant attention, constant emotional updates. So when you choose a different energy, when you choose calm over chaos, presence over panic, self-respect over people pleasing, you break the pattern. And breaking patterns creates obsession. When you don't chase, they become intrigued. When you don't overshare, they lean in. When you don't react emotionally, they feel emotionally exposed. And when your silence holds depth, they feel drawn in by a force they can't name. But this doesn't mean you stay silent forever. Stoicism isn't about withholding love. It's about expressing it with intention. The moment you choose to open up, the moment you allow someone into your inner world, your honesty hits different. Your affection hits different. Your touch hits different. Your energy feels grounded, real, controlled. And that makes the connection even more electric. It makes your intimacy feel stronger, not because of how loud it is, but because of how present it is. Stoicism makes your relationships richer, deeper, more meaningful, more sensual, more grounded. It helps you attract the kind of people who want to build something real, not something temporary. It helps you avoid the emotionally unstable, the manipulative, the ones who rely on chaos to feel alive. It helps you become someone whose presence is remembered, whose touch lingers, whose words echo long after you walk away. Relationships are not built on constant talking. They are built on understanding, on presence, on patience, on desire that grows slowly instead of exploding all at once, on trust formed in the quiet moments, on the look shared between two people who understand each other without needing to talk over each other. Stoicism turns you into someone who doesn't need to prove your worth because your worth becomes obvious in your behavior, your calm, your emotional consistency. And consistency is rare, consistency is sexy, consistency is magnetic. When someone knows you won't crumble, won't lash out, won't disappear, they feel safe letting their guard down. And when someone lets their guard down, intimacy grows, emotional intimacy, sexual intimacy, spiritual intimacy. It all grows from safety and suspense, not chaos and noise, and eventually they start to realize something that scares them a little. They crave your energy more than they expected. They crave your calm. They crave your grounding presence. They crave your voice, your stillness, and the feeling they get when your eyes meet theirs. They can't explain why you affect them so deeply, but that's exactly why they can't forget you. You're not loud enough to blend in. You're not desperate enough to be ignored. You move differently, you respond differently, you choose differently. And in a world where everyone is reacting, you become the one who attracts. That's stoic power, not coldness, not distance, not emotional shutdown, but intentional presence, controlled emotion, deep understanding of self. And when you apply that to relationships, to attraction, to desire, to intimacy, something extraordinary happens. Your silence becomes louder than anyone else's noise. Your calm becomes more seductive than anyone else's intensity. Your presence becomes the thing they keep coming back to, and without even trying, you become unforgettable.